and welcome to Thursday afternoon here on Colombo and Company on 101.9, 94.1 News Talk STL. The week, the year, the day, everything just flying by. Got a lot going on, a lot to catch you up on, a lot of great guests, a lot of great company coming over today as we try to unpack the latest and get you informed on everything that's happening nationally, internationally, and, of course, locally today. A couple of the headlines. Colorado School District has put as many as 61 male students on girls' sports teams. 61 in one school district in Colorado. This has raised the attention of the Trump administration. The Department of Education has sent a warning letter to that school district. I saw this story yesterday, just maybe an hour or two, not even that long, probably less than an hour, after we got off the air yesterday, and I have been wanting to talk about this story ever since. So we're going to get into that, explain all the details. It's crazy. But yeah, we're going to get into that as we go through the afternoon. Also, breaking news today, former White House National Security Advisor John Bolton will plead guilty to retaining classified documents. Here we go with the classified documents. Again, we'll unpack all of those details. We'll get you an update on what is happening in Iran, including today on Capitol Hill, the House floor had the headlines say things like erupted into chaos. I'm not going to say it erupted into chaos, but there was certainly some drama that was entertaining to watch between a couple members of Congress over what is happening in the Middle East, specifically when it comes to Hezbollah and Lebanon, which has been, as we reported yesterday, very much at the center of the sticking point, one of the hurdles that is causing the slowdown on any type of agreement, any type of progression of the negotiations. We know that operation and control of the Strait of Hormuz is one of the major issues. Obviously, the nuclear program, Iran's nuclear program, is always going to be the core issue when it comes to these negotiations. But also Lebanon, and specifically Israel, and their continued assault on Hezbollah within Lebanon. Iran has put a ceasefire of those actions squarely in the middle of the negotiations, and that has obviously created a problem because that's not us. And we know that Donald Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu had what is being reported as a tense conversation. Some people, said it was a blow up, no pun intended, but we know that happened this week. But at the end of the day, the United States can only negotiate for the United States. But this Lebanon issue is definitely become a center of the conversation surrounding the negotiations. So we will explain what happened on the House floor this afternoon as we go through the show. John Fetterman back in the news. Who knew I would like John Fetterman? I still wouldn't vote for John Fetterman, but continues to be the voice of reason. He's gotten involved now in the Graham Planter conversation, the Senate candidate endorsed by Bernie Sanders, the guy with the Nazi tattoo. John Fetterman challenging Planter in the news today to release some information regarding the creepy social media platform that he's on where he's communicating with people, but it's very anonymous, and there's lots of reports that there's most likely underage people that he's been talking to. John Fetterman wants those transcripts released. He wants the chat logs released. And he told Planter, challenged him publicly today, saying that he would wear a suit every day for the rest of his term if Planter releases those details. I think that that's great. We'll get to the latest there. Also, the church in Minnesota that Don Lemon and his gang stormed into, disrupted the service, all of that. It has just now been announced by the leadership in Minnesota, of course. Their city attorney up there, St. Paul city attorney, that nobody's going to be charged criminally in that incident. Nothing to see here. Nothing happened. No laws were broken. Thankfully, there are some federal civil cases still attached to Don Lemon himself and some of the other protesters that stormed that church. However, this is just this. We talked a lot yesterday about the two-tier justice system that has been on display, wildly over the last several years. I mean, we talked a lot about it yesterday, but we've talked a lot about it over the last, several years. Specifically when it comes to yesterday's conversation was specifically about illegal immigrants and how the laws that apply to you and me don't apply to them, and many times. In fact, they get a lot more grace than American citizens do in many cases. And I think this is an extension of that conversation. While it's not specifically about the immigration issue, it is another example of the two-tier justice system, in my opinion. In that if these were a bunch of, MAGA protesters storming into some progressive church or institution, whatever it may be, storming the doors, entering a service, shouting, holding signs, disrupting everything, I have a feeling there'd be some charges filed, but not here. And the reasons and the excuses are amazing. So I'm going to get into all of those things as well. We're even going to, again, talk about some of the local issues of the day on the heels of our debate on Tuesday night out at Lindenwood. We covered the St. Charles County Executive primary debate. That election is right around the corner in August. One of the panelists at that debate was our very own Mike Ferguson from Mike Ferguson in the Morning. He's going to join us a little bit later on this hour. I want to kind of recap the debate, some of the things, his biggest takeaways from that event, and then springing forward from the debate, preview what Mike and we all think about the direction that we're heading as we get closer and closer to the August primary, specifically when it comes to the local issues like that St. Charles County executive primary. Of course, the income tax issue, the IP reform issue, and many more. So we're going to talk to Mike Ferguson and unpack a lot of those local issues in just about a half an hour from now. Also today in the 3 o'clock hour, we'll be joined by my co-hosts from the Bluff City Outdoors Show. Bluff City Outdoors Show is every Saturday morning at 11 a.m. here on News Talk STL, and it is our chance to not talk about politics. It's the weekend. It's the freaking weekend, and it's summertime, and it's a great time to get outside, enjoy the water, go fishing. Bluff City Outdoors in Alton has all of your fishing needs covered, also all your bow hunting needs, trapping needs, and more. And we talk about all of those things. And we stay away from politics unless politics bleeds in to the great outdoors, and we're forced. We're forced to talk politics, but it's always a lot of fun to talk to those guys when they're able to come into studio. So that's in the 3 o'clock hour. Also in the 3 o'clock hour, right at 3 o'clock today, we're going to talk to Dr. Randy Tolber. Speaking of Saturday mornings, Randy Tolber show every Saturday morning, 6 to 9 a.m. here on News Talk STL. And before we talk to Mike, we're going to get Virginia Kruta from the Daily Wire on the line in just a couple minutes. First, let me tell you a little bit about this Colorado School District story. And I'm sure we're going to continue to unpack this throughout the show with Virginia and or Randy. Mike maybe has a thought on this as well. The U.S. Department of Education sent a warning letter to Jefferson County Public Schools in Colorado yesterday. Jefferson County Public Schools, Colorado. Don't do a double take there. After the department determined that the school district may have put as many as 61 male students on girls' sports teams. The letter warned the district that it has 10 days to come up with a resolution with the Department of Education, or it will receive a follow-up letter of impending enforcement action and risks termination of the district's federal education funding. A statement released by the Department of Education said, quote, not only did the district trample on females' sex-based protections by allowing males to compete in their sports, intrude in their bathrooms, and sleep in their overnight accommodations, but now it refuses to fix the problem after being given a chance. It is indifferent to the law and to the safety and privacy and dignity of women and girls. Its behavior here is unconscionable. It goes on there, but you get the picture. And again, I want to get deeper into this story and talk about it because this is one of those things that I think a lot of people, that you hear the stories here and there. The volleyball player in San Jose, a swimmer in Kentucky, whatever it may be, weightlifter in Canada. And it's just here and there, and it's not widespread. And it's not. I'm not saying it's happening everywhere. But 61 students in one school district in Colorado shows you that this is still, to this day, even though it feels like over the last year, really, especially over the last year, that this has been one of the issues that many people have rallied around. The idea that it's not crazy to protect women's rights and safety when it comes to their sports and their bathrooms and their locker rooms and their overnight accommodations. That's crazy. But despite the fact that it seems like, we talk about 80-20 issues, I think this is about a 90-10 or a 95-5 issue, but still a big problem. And this story is a perfect example of that. So I want to continue that conversation as we get our first guest on the line. Virginia Kruta from the Daily Wire joins us next here on Colombo Company.
Made in St. Louis, for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL. If you have a phone, you have a radio.
Yes, I listen on my phone.
Download the all-new News Talk STL app.
Love the all-new News Talk STL app.
It is awesome.
And listen anytime.
Love the News Talk STL app.
Anywhere.
Hey, it's Susie Moore with a reminder that for 20 years, Harpo's Chesterfield has been the heart of West County's fun. With their award-winning patio, voted best in West County, and excellent sports bar atmosphere, Harpo's is your one-stop destination. The mouth-watering menu has made them famous throughout St. Louis. Plus, they've got great drink specials and the friendliest, most energetic staff around. Whether you're dining in or carrying out, Harpo's delivers fun, food, and drinks like no one else. Harpo's Chesterfield. Call 636-537-1970 or visit harposstl.com.
Rhino Shield is far superior to even the best traditional exterior house paint. Rhino Shield is 8 to 10 times thicker than paint and comes with a 25-year transferable warranty. Rhino Shield is the only ceramic coating company that has been chosen by Disney, This Old House, and 3 times on HGTV's Curb Appeal, where every episode is concentrated on unpainted brick, bonds and seals to stucco, wood, hardy, block, color lock, masonite, and more. No better product for those steel aluminum sided homes that have become, chalky and tired looking. We coat sloped and flat roofs to extend their lives too. After 15 years, we've got a great reputation and a superior product. As long as it's affordable, why wouldn't you do it? Before you make the costly mistake of painting with traditional paint, you'd be best served to call Rhino Shield today. We are the experts and our evaluations are free. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com. Tell them, ladies.
No paint, don't Rhino. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Hunters, we are about 2 months away from turkey season. Are you ready? Hey, it's Mike Ferguson here, and if you stop by and visit my friends at Whistle Pig Outdoors, you will be. Whistle Pig is stocked with decoys from Avian X and DSD, clothing from Bandit and First Light, calls from Rolling Thunder and Woodhaven, plus Whistle Pig has those hard-to-find tungsten shells from Apex and Migra. Whistle Pig Outdoors in Troy, Missouri. Just go to whistlepigoutdoors.com.
I was working in the lab late one night when my eyes beheld an eerie sight. For my monster from his slab began to rise, and suddenly, to my surprise, he did the monster mash. It was a graveyard smash. It caught on in a flash. He did the monster mash. From my
Ashlyn says it's Summerween. That's why we're listening to Halloween music right now. I will have to have her explain Summerween to me sometime soon because I'm too old to get it. But I'll take a little Halloween music any time of year. Doesn't bother me. Welcome back to Colombo and Company on 119.94.1 News Talk STL. As I mentioned, a lot going on today, and we are joined on the line by our friend Virginia Kruta from the Daily Wire, thedailywire.com. Virginia, I want to ask you about New York because I have a story here. I have a story here about Zoran Mondani saying that 1 month isn't long enough for Pride Month. I don't what he wants Pride quarter or I don't know, semester something. And then I see you have an article up right now that's kind of related to that issue. So I definitely want to get into that as we go through the conversation today. But first, I don't know if you heard me talking there in that first segment or if you've seen this story yesterday. I didn't see it until after I was off the air late yesterday afternoon. This Colorado school district that has been warned by the Department of Education because they have put as many as 61 male students on girls' sports teams, like in the last school year. Just absolutely incredible. And I think a reminder that this issue, this 80-20, 90-10 issue, is still a problem. How are you, my friend? And what do you think about this popping back up in such a big way? This issue that we all seem to be on one side on, but this is still happening.
I had not heard about this. I'm looking at it right now. It's Jefferson County Public Schools. Okay, I see it. Yeah,
Jefferson County in Colorado.
It's the same thing that that we would always say is that it's a violation of Title IX, obviously. And if so the articles originally came out, it looks like the information came out in March.
Yeah.
And the Trump administration is now just cracking down on them. Which
better late than never,
sense.
I guess. Yeah.
Well, I mean, the information only came out in March, so we're talking about by the end of the school year, the Trump administration is acting. So I think that's reasonable, but
as a former as a female athlete and a vet, you've been very active and competitive in athletics. If you would have had this issue, because I try to I go back to when I was in high school, and I'm not not a girl, so I can't relate specifically, but I would imagine that when I was in high school, if a boy was trying to get into the girls' bathroom or the girls' locker room or that the administration, leadership, those in charge would be very much on the side of the girls and protecting their safety.
For sure.
And that's not what we're seeing. But in 2026, that's not the case.
We lived in a very different world,
Yeah.
Tony.
Yeah.
We lived in a very different world because we lived in, and it's what's really funny. There was this quote of all people, Vanilla Ice, right, talking about how he was not going to back out of the America 250, like the ultimate state fair or whatever performance they're going to do. They were asking him on CNN, like, what are you going to do? Because all these people are backing out because, like, Martina McBride backed out and Brett Michaels and a bunch of other people are like, we're not going to do it. And
I see Milli Vanilli backed out, too. First of all, they booked
I don't have any idea.
They booked Milli Vanilli.
I mean, that's funny, but
And then
but they booked Vanilla Ice, too.
Well, yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point.
But he says, look, I was raised here. I'm proud of my country. But he said what I've said a number of times, like, I don't envy the kids today. It's so much harder. You have to be in a camp. You can't just say, I don't care. You have to pick a side. And because if you don't pick a side, then you've picked a side and everybody's mad at you. And it's just like, it's very frustrating that everything has to be political when you're a kid. So, and he was saying, like, if we could just get the kids off the screens and let them run around in their Z Cavariccis and rip the back seat out and put a couple subwoofers in, we'd be in a lot better position right now.
Tight roll them jeans.
I think he's wrong. I draw the line at tight rolling the jeans, but
I definitely was guilty of tight rolling the jeans for a couple of years there.
But you understand the point. Like, it was so much simpler when there wasn't a what are people going to think of me online, or what does my bio say? Is it diverse enough? What is this? None of that stuff mattered because you walked down the hallway at your school, and even if you didn't know people by name, you had a pretty good idea of who was on the basketball team, who was on the swim team, who were the good football players, who was good at math, who was in the science club, who was in drama. You knew those things.
You knew
now
the theater
you walk
kids,
down the hallway of hundreds of kids, and they're wearing T-shirts that tell you who they want to sleep with, and you don't have the first clue what they're about.
You're right.
We're advertising the private, and nobody knows what matters.
And imagine what that does to a young, I mean, you would know it better than anybody, a young female athlete moving forward, that they have an experience that makes them uncomfortable, maybe a little bit afraid. They go to a teacher or an administrator, somebody that they think is going to help them, and they get told that they're the problem, that you're the bigot, you're the problem. And I mean, just imagine what that does in the future when you think you need help.
I know how I was at that age, and I was the one who, like, I would go practice with the boys' swim team because the coach let me. Like, and I could keep up with half of them. Like, I could hold my own, and if I was uncomfortable, I would be the first to, like, throw an elbow. But I'm less worried about what I would have done in that situation than I am about what I'll do to whoever puts my daughter in that situation. Because now I'm the one who could go to jail. Like, this is we're getting into dicey territory.
I know. And just
there are parents who are losing custody because they won't. Like, kids are getting taken away from parents because they refuse to participate in the delusion.
Yeah, right.
And say, oh, no, my daughter is actually a boy.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. No, you're exactly right. And that's why I wanted to talk about this today, and why it kind of it took me aback a little bit yesterday when I saw it, because it's important to remember that this is still very much an issue that is happening around the country, even though it feels like there's some, at least in this one specific issue.
And California is doing it too, but California has solved the problem by saying, well, we'll just put we're going to put the boy who's winning all the girls' sports at the top of the podium, but we'll let the second place girl stand next to him.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Like,
Did
that's
that
how
story.
they're solving the problem.
Uh-huh.
And now you have the
Uh-huh.
boy's mom out there like, this is so unfair to her.
Yeah.
Like, no,
That's
he's not a her,
right.
and it's not unfair.
Yeah.
Sorry. No.
Yeah. That is talk about the
thank you for
worst
playing.
way to handle it. But leave it to California for something like that. Talking to Virginia Crudo from the Daily Wire. As I mentioned, I had already prepped this story, and then I see you have a story that's kind of a perfect compliment about Pride Month in New York. So Zorian Mondani marked the beginning of June's Pride Month with a social media post saying that it should be longer, that 1 month is not enough time to honor all the ways that his words, queer and transgender people, have put a positive impact on society. So he wants Pride Month to extend past just the 30 days of June. And then, so that's what I knew. And then I see your headline, New York City Council turns chamber into drag runway for Pride Ball.
Yeah.
Can you tell us what happened with this?
So
situation.
apparently the LGBTQIA plus, insert your additional letter here. The caucus in the New York City Council, they held what they're dubbing a Pride Ball, which featured drag dancers and everything else that you can imagine, because they were going to give awards to 3 people. I don't even know what for, because they didn't say that. They're just basically recognizing them for being LGBT. It's the new famous for being famous. So,
but why? But
I don't
a
know.
Government,
So
a city.
They're using a government building.
Right.
They're using the city council floor, which is supposed to be, taxpayer-funded council members doing things for the city. And instead, they're, lined up around the edges of the room, clapping and catcalling as these idiots prance around in I don't even know what to call the outfits they were wearing. But the interpretive dance, something got lost in interpretation. I'm just saying, because it was scary is the word, really.
Yeah, and inappropriate venue. Like, me, Virginia, I'm very much a wear what you dig, live how you want to live.
Exactly.
I don't care about any of that stuff. Pride Month is fine with me, but it's I was talking earlier about the 2-tier justice system and how there's just, depending on what group you're in, social group you're in, you have the laws and the rights, all apply differently.
Well,
and that's a
I'll
problem
tell you-
because this is just not where this all should be happening at. That's the issue for me.
Well, and I'll tell you the issue that I have with Pride Month, honestly. I mean, I have a couple of them, but I'll leave the personal religious ones out of it because that's me. But the idea that you grew up in the 80s and 90s. You know what I'm talking about when I tell you, like and at this point it was just the LGB community, right?
Right.
They were talking and they wanted everybody to get out of their bedrooms, right? Like that was the whole shtick. Like, get out of our bedrooms. Don't tell us what we can and can't do, who we can and can't love. And I'm like, great, fine, no problem. Get your bedroom off my front lawn.
Right, exactly.
That's my problem
Yes.
with Pride Month, because I guarantee you, if I walked outside wearing a T-shirt that says, I like to sleep with men, particularly my husband,
right,
somebody would call me a bigot.
They would say that that's some sort of hate speech.
It's exactly. And
for real.
There is no heterosexual Pride Month. There is no, you can't flip test this because it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's absurd that you are marching down the street wearing BDSM gear and telling people who you want to go to bed with. This is ridiculous.
You're
It
exactly
does not
right.
belong in the public square, because guess who is in the public square? My kids.
That's a perfect
Sorry.
way to explain it. That analogy is perfect because, And like you said, and I agreed with that. Stay out of our bedroom. I agreed, but now,
And that's exactly like I don't care.
right? But
if you want to identify as like
whatever.
a gopher tortoise.
Yeah.
I don't care. But as soon as you ask me to fund it or you parade it through my living room or you ask me to participate in the delusion.
Yes.
Yes. Libertarian means that your rights end where mine begin.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And you don't have any more
you don't get
you don't
to tell
stand
me what
above
I have
me in
to
any way.
accept
Yeah,
or do.
and your purview doesn't belittle mine or push mine out of the way any more than mine does to you.
Your feelings don't matter more than my rights.
Yes. I want to just say that there's some kind of psychological study that can be done on everybody, that if you have to come up with just the most bizarre reference, and you came up with, what was it? I already lost it.
What?
If you want to do a tortoise, what did you say?
I said if you want to identify as a gopher tortoise.
A gopher tortoise.
I really don't.
Everybody, that's going to be my new test. I'm just going to sneak up on people and say you have 3 seconds to say the most ridiculous type of animal you can come up with. And just see
How often does that come up in conversation?
That's good.
People ask you that a lot, Tony.
Well,
because I can get you a better one.
Hang on, some weird. Better than gopher tortoise?
I'm sure.
That is great stuff. Virginia Cruda from the Daily Wire. Really appreciate your time as always, my friend. Check out Virginia's articles every day at thedailywire.com, and she's with us every Thursday afternoon and sometimes more here on Colombo Company. We'll talk to you again soon. Have a great rest of your day.
Sounds good. Bye.
I love it. Gopher tortoise. Write that down. I don't want to ever forget that. That was awesome. Dailywire.com for all of Virginia's articles each and every day. All right, we are going to continue the conversation, but I want to switch some of the conversation to some of the local issues. We had the debate for St. Charles County executive. The Republican primary candidates debated at Lindenwood University on Tuesday, and we were there as part of that event covering that for Lindenwood, and our own Jamie Allman was the moderator, and one of the folks on the stage asking questions was our own Mike Ferguson. I want to talk to Mike about his takeaways from the debate, and then also kind of use that event and a lot of the issues that were brought up during it to preview what Mike is thinking about the upcoming elections, specifically the August primary elections, not only for that race, but for many others that are massively important for the citizens of Missouri. So Mike Ferguson is going to put in a little overtime. I DoorDashed some coffee over at his house so he can get out, wake up from the nap and join us for a little bonus time this afternoon. Mike Ferguson joins us next.
For podcast articles and more, find us on newstalkstl.com. Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
President Trump says he won't rush the Iran deal and doesn't care about the midterms. Steve Bucci will tell us if we're any closer to peace at 420.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL.
He leaps and makes a fantastic catch.
Calling all bobblehead enthusiasts. Saturday, June 6th, as the Cardinals take on the Cincinnati Reds, fans can score a Jim Edmonds bobblehead presented by Ford. This collectible captures his unforgettable home run robbing grab at the wall, a play that still gives Cardinals fans chills. Add a defensive icon to your shelf and relive a moment that defined an era. Don't miss this one. Get tickets at cardinals.com/promotions.
Future Gold Glovers, this one's for you. Sunday, June 7th, the Cardinals welcome the Cincinnati Reds to Busch Stadium. And that day, kids receive a City Connect Rawlings glove presented by Rawlings. built for playing catch all summer long. It's ready for backyard games, trips to the park, and every I got it moment. A day at the ballpark that keeps the season going. Get tickets now at cardinals.com/promotions.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness One. Wellness One is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on Newstalk STL. And you can visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
Connor Roofing, you can count on Connor. Connor Roofing is now a 2-time winner of the National Best of the Best Award for customer satisfaction for roofing, storm damage restoration, siding, gutters, both residential and commercial. Please visit ConnorRoofing.com for an estimate. And remember, you can count on Connor.
This hour of Colombo Company brought to you by Gutter Pros. Water goes where we tell it. Call 314-656-7195 or visit them at gutterpros.com.
Welcome back to Colombo Company on 119.94.1 News Talk STL. Thanks again to Virginia Cruda from the Daily Wire for joining us in that last segment. We're going to talk to Dr. Randy Tobler at the top of the hour, just after 3 o'clock. You can hear the Randy Tobler Show every Saturday morning, 6 to 9 a.m., and, of course, every weekday morning, starting at, he'll take that 6 a.m. and raise you at 5:30 a.m. Mike Ferguson in the morning every weekday here on News Talk STL. And we got Mike out of bed from his nap to put in a little overtime and join us this afternoon. Mike, thanks for your time. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing well. It's normal to drink coffee in the middle of the afternoon. Right?
Hey, listen, I'm two-fisting Monster Energies right now, so you'll never, no judgment from me ever on any on any caffeine consumption. Wanted to talk to Mike because I just mentioned there reflecting on the debate at Lindenwood on Tuesday night. We were out there covering the St. Charles County Executive Republican primary debate. Mike was on stage asking questions of these candidates. And I wanted to take a few minutes to kind of reflect on that, kind of get your thoughts, your takeaways from that event, Mike, and then also use it to kind of look forward to the upcoming elections because we're in the month of June now. Summer is unofficially here, basically here. The kids are, home from school, summer break. The August elections are a blink of an eye away when it comes to the, a political timeline. They're going to be here before we know it. So a lot of these important issues like that St. Charles County executive race and, big issues like IP reform and income tax are going to be in front of the Missouri voters. And it's up to, the people that are advocating for these various things to get the information out, make sure people are informed and understand the importance of these issues coming up in August. So let's start with Tuesday night. What were your biggest takeaways from the debate?
Yeah, I think some of the biggest ones was, and we kind of thought this was going to be the case, you've got three pretty conservative Republicans here, but they've got the same general end goal of things. However, you've got three completely different approaches to what the role of government should be. The current county executive, Steve Ellman, he's very much of this is how government works. We're going to work within the system, and there are some things that we're going to do and other things that we leave to the municipalities and, government at the county level just can't do all these things, and very much nuts and bolts. And this is the system we work within it. Then, of course, you've got Bill Eigel, who says, forget the system, man. We're gonna kind of throw out what we don't like, and we're gonna fight. And if that means we're gonna make the local municipalities mad. At one point, he was saying, how do we get the cities to do what we want when the county charter doesn't allow us to? Well, we threaten to withhold their money for roads. And so he was much more of let's use the county government as kind of a big stick. And then, of course, Jason Law comes in, and his focus was we're going to be collaborative with other jurisdictions because these are regional problems. So what you had was three conservative guys, three Republicans with very different resumes and very different views of how to do it. So really the question came down in a large part was, who do you think is going to be the best, most effective leader, and whose leadership style do you think is going to be the most effective one? Because let's be honest, in St. Charles County, there's a lot of stuff that's going pretty well. I mean, there's a reason people really want to move to St. Charles County. And the areas where they disagreed were, like, for instance, the property tax issue. Bill Eigel says get rid of all of it. Steve Edelman says you can't do that. You're going to bankrupt, different areas of the county. Bill Eigel disagrees. And so there were differences few and far between, but where there were differences, they were pretty stark. But like I said, Tony, I think this really has more to do with who do voters think is going to be the right style and the right type of leader to take St. Charles into the next 5, 10, 15 years.
You're exactly right, and about they were all conservative candidates that are generally on the same path moving forward, which is good. If you are a conservative, a conservative resident of St. Charles County. However, where they did, as you mentioned, where they did disagree, they were very willing to dig in and fight for their positions. You can go and watch the event if you missed any of it, or you just want to go, take it all in again. You can go to our website, newstalkstl.com. You can go to our social media platforms. We streamed the event. You can go back and we broadcast it live. You can go back and check out the stream, the video, or the audio of the event and check it out yourself. But Mike, an August election is already a problem with voter turnout. Not being the general November, it being not a presidential year is another layer of the onion. So information, education, and voter participation, I think, are the biggest issues that that they need to address. If you have a candidate or an issue that you are advocating, doing everything you can to get people informed and active is, I think, the most important. We had almost 400 people, or around 400 people, at this debate on Tuesday night, which to me was amazing, especially for a debate that you could listen to on the air. You didn't have to drive in, but I was encouraged to see how many people showed up for this debate, and hopefully, to me, it's a sign of that larger participation and engagement of voters moving forward. What do you think about that? The momentum of getting people active in an August primary.
Yeah, I agree. First of all, I was really surprised at the turnout and really pleasantly shocked at how engaged people were. And to your point, keep in mind, St. Charles is one of the fastest growing areas of the entire state, and it's also one of the most Republican. So if we're going to, for instance, deal with the initiative petition reform amendment, and for those who support the income tax repeal and these sort of big red things that so many Republicans have been trying to do, while the three candidates for county executive are duking it out amongst each other, it would be really helpful if all three of them also said, by the way, we agree, we need to pass the initiative petition reform, and everybody get on board, because they're driving a high turnout in St. Charles County in particular, and that's good for the Republican causes or the conservative causes, because they're not always the same thing. Let's be really honest. And so that's a really positive thing. And they definitely there was a few times things got a little testy, but everybody mostly stayed stuck to the issues. And so I think the engagement that we're seeing right now is something that's not the kind of conflict that's going to be fatal or damaging to the Republican Party or to a conservative cause. It's one of those where whoever wins this is going to walk right in to be the county executive. I know there is a Democrat on the ballot. He's irrelevant in St. Charles County. The Republican primary is going to decide this, and that's going to be good for that turnout in August, because I don't know if people around here understand just how crucial the voter turnout in this area is going to be for those statewide issues.
You mentioned that in St. Charles County, if you are a conservative-minded, libertarian-minded voter, that you have it pretty good. And I can speak to that personally as a fairly new member of that community that left North County and can agree with that statement that things are pretty good. However, to the larger point here, it doesn't mean that you're just safe from everything,
Right.
and you don't have to pay attention or you don't have to get engaged. And we saw that message sent loud and clear in April when there wasn't a single conservative school board member that won an election in all of St. Charles County, in all of the districts, Francis Howell, Fort Zumwalt, all the districts, not a single conservative school board member won an election. So, you may feel like you have it good in a state like Missouri if you're a conservative voter, knowing it's solidly red, or a county like St. Charles. But if you don't get out there and make your voice heard, you can't take that stuff for granted. It can be taken away as quickly, as it was here the day before. Only a few minutes left here, Mike. I want to talk about some of those issues that you touched on and the momentum that they have. I think that the income tax issue is not the slam dunk that I think a lot of people may assume it is. I think that there needs to be a really concerted effort to educate voters on that issue, especially if you're trying to, ensure its passage. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but I almost maybe feel the same way about IP reform, just because, lack of understanding may sometimes lead to a 50-50 coin toss on what somebody votes on their ballot. And if we don't get these issues right, and for me, IP reform is a major hot button issue. If we don't get these things right now in 2026, it could be 10 years or more before we get another shot at it. What do you think about the importance of these August?
Yeah, I think this is our one chance to get rid of the income tax. I really do. And this is one of the reasons that it is so crucial that there's a high turnout. Because you mentioned, for instance, the April election with the school board. Well, that's why there's so many Republican lawmakers who moved those St. Charles County school board races to the November election starting next year, or starting the next election cycle. Well, there's a reason for that, because that low turnout allowed the teachers' unions to kind of run over the top of everything, and they just won those races. Yeah, I told Dennis Ganal when I met with him a few weeks ago from Missouri, Remote Tax Relief Now, I said, if I were the campaign manager running against this, I would never try to meet you fact for fact or debate you on the issue itself. What I would do if I were the opposition, I sound like Paul Harvey here, if I were the devil, but if I were the opposition here, what I would do is just sow chaos. I would make sure that everybody was confused. I would make sure that there's a tremendous amount of chaos that people didn't understand, and they got paralyzed by fear, and that's what you're seeing. Now, there's a good faith debate to be had about the income tax versus expanding the sales tax base, but only the proponents of Amendment 5 want to do it, I think, on an honest policy basis. The opponents, frankly, are doing exactly what I said I would do if I were managing that campaign, and you're basically confusing the issue, and people do get paralyzed by fear. Initiative petition reform, I think, has a better chance. I think if we voted on the income tax repeal right now, I think it would lose. I think it would lose close, but I do think that we are within striking distance of getting people to understand, because what you're talking about are some very, very complicated policy things that we're asking people to vote on, and you're getting a lot of noise from both sides. And a lot of times people say, well, the safe thing to do is just stay where it's at because we don't know. What the proponents need to be doing is answering the confusion very clearly and pointing out that on average, middle income and even in some cases lower income people are going to have more money in their pocket, and look to the states that have done this successfully, including one blue state, but mostly Texas, Florida, and places like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And the importance of continuing to talk about and inform people about these issues, I think is such a big deal. And that's what we do every day here, and you do every day on Mike Ferguson Morning, and obviously throughout the station. So we'll keep you up to speed and informed on all these issues as we get closer. Mike, we only have about a minute left. I just wanted to quickly ask you, as a baseball guy, Sacramento, California is putting a hard push forward to say we deserve a Major League Baseball team. MLB said that they are going to expand by 2 additional teams. Sacramento, are they the city that should get it, in your opinion? At least one of them?
They're awful close to a couple of other major league teams. That's going to be a hard sell, and they don't have a big enough stadium. I would look at Nashville, also possibly, that's where I would look. I don't think Oklahoma City is big enough, but I know they're pushing. But my guess is that Nashville might be next in line if the Cardinals don't block it, because I don't know if they want another team within about 4 hours.
Yeah, no kidding. That all Oklahoma, Tennessee, all of that is Cardinal Nation. You're exactly right. Do we need 2 more teams, Mike? Does MLB is it time to expand? Do we even need that, in your opinion?
Short answer is no, but ask me again after the standoff between the owners and the players and the contract negotiations. If they get a long-term deal, I think that it's possible it would be good for the game. I also wouldn't be surprised if, since we got a team in Canada, they wouldn't look to something like Mexico City.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Mike Ferguson in the morning, every weekday, 5:30 a.m. to 9 a.m. here on News Talk STL. Thanks for a little overtime on a Thursday afternoon, buddy. Talk to you soon.
Anything for you, Tony, anything.
Thank you, and back at you. Mike Ferguson there here on Colombo and Company. And speaking of that great morning discussion, the Randy Tobler Show is every Saturday morning, 6 to 9 a.m. And Dr. Randy Tobler joins us next here on Colombo and Company.
When I'm back on top in June.
Hey, it's Susie Moore for Window World. Did you know that in just over the last 20 years, Window World of St. Louis has improved the look and thermal efficiency for over 80,000 customers in St. Louis? Plus, Window World windows come with a lifetime warranty that covers all parts, glass breakage, and labor. And now, Window World is offering 36 months, same as cash financing with approved credit. Call them today at 800-GET-WINDOWS for a free in-home, no-pressure estimate. That's Window World at 800-GET-WINDOWS. They're the preferred window of the St. Louis Blues.
Dive into adventure with Great American Divers. We're your local veteran-owned scuba center offering PADI certification courses, equipment repairs, and dive travel opportunities. From beginners to experts, we got you covered. Kids can join our SEAL Teen classes, and we even host pool parties. Our experienced staff is passionate about teaching, and we're the only center in the area with our own indoor heated pool. Great American Divers on Central School Road in St. Charles. Visit greatamericandivers.com. Great American Divers, where adventure runs deep.
This year, America turns 250, and News Talk STL is celebrating our nation's semi-quincentennial all year long. News Talk STL, #1 for live and local Soros-free talk, with proud supporters of our 250th birthday celebration. DiGregorio's Italian Market, AAA Motor Speedway, and American Family Insurance. 250 years strong, and we're just getting started. 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
The 4th Annual Augusta Wine and Jazz Festival takes over the town on Saturday, June 6th from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Experience a true jazz crawl as you stroll around Augusta with 10 stages tucked into vineyards and tasting rooms, offering a world of food and sounds to explore, with free festival entry for all ages. The day culminates at the Harmony, Augusta's historic performing arts center, for a powerhouse headliner performance and pasta dinner you won't want to miss. Details and tickets at theharmony.org.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 101.9, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. I'm Ken Lorman in Washington. Senate Republicans have voted to defeat an amendment sponsored by Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer to prohibit the Justice Department from establishing a nearly $1.8 billion fund for victims of political lawfare. It's a proposal that Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche told lawmakers this week the administration would abandon. Ohio Senator Bernie Moreno says Democrats are trying to distract from the actual issue at hand.
They are going to play so many games over the next 8, 9, 10 hours. Bring it on. Because what we will do today is we will make certain that communities are safe in this country.
Staying on Capitol Hill, President Trump not impressed that the House passed a resolution designed to force him to end the Iran war. He calls the move meaningless. Former CBS newsman Dan Rather and 130 other CBS alumni are expressing their displeasure with the network after longtime 60 Minutes correspondent Scott Pelley is fired because of an outburst at a staff meeting.
Dan Rather, who was let go from CBS News after a problematic 60 Minutes piece about former President George W. Bush, is now inserting himself into the current situation. Rather, along with other CBS alumni, writing an open letter to the network, calling on David Ellison, the CEO of Paramount Skydance, to uphold the independence of 60 Minutes. New management has been brought in to deal with ongoing bias on the show and to make it more fair and balanced, for example, to include sound bites from President Trump.
That's correspondent Laura Winters reporting. On Wall Street, a big day for the Dow Jones Industrial Average, soaring over 900 points to close at a new record today. More of these stories, townhall.com.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu. My Computer Career, an elite CompTIA certification partner.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
Meet Matthew Preston. Inside his apartment, everything he holds dear is protected by Progressive's renter's insurance, like his laptop and a surprisingly valuable collection of baseball bobbleheads. Outside his apartment, his laptop is still protected, as are his bobbleheads, which he carries around with him for reasons no one knows. Renters, the limits of protection aren't just the four walls of your home. When you're in Progressive's Protection Zone, get a quote at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and third-party insurers.
From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
A little cloudy out there and a warm day with high temperatures making it into the mid-80s this afternoon, up to about 87 degrees. Very low rain chance today. Lows overnight in the 60s, and we're looking at partly cloudy skies tomorrow with high temperatures making it into the upper 80s. And maybe a spot storm or two in the afternoon or evening. Could see a couple showers move through in the morning as well. But again, the rain chance remains pretty low through Saturday, too. Just a couple of spotty storms. But Sunday and Monday look like rain days. In the First Alert Weather Center, I'm KMOB meteorologist Kent Earhart.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Chris Cooper and Serenity Wealth Management. Business owners, download your free playbook for financial clarity at SerenityWealthBiz.com. That's SerenityWealthBiz.com. News, analysis, opinion.
Unleashing energy dominance is not just about ramping up a domestic supply.
We need to be looking at other markets to be able to place our product.
Being in a stronger position to be able to export to these other countries that want it.
1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Welcome back to Colombo Company on 1019 94.1 News Talk STL. Great 2 o'clock hour there with Virginia Cruda from the Daily Wire and Mike Ferguson, of course, from Mike Ferguson in the morning. Every weekday morning, 5:30 to 9 a.m. You're on News Talk STL. And on Saturday mornings, in the early morning hours, you can tune in here for the Randy Tobler Show, 6 to 9 a.m. every Saturday morning. And Dr. Randy Tobler is on the line with us now. Doc, good afternoon, and thanks for your time, buddy. How are you?
Those late ballots to push Tom Steyer over the top to come in California.
I know, California. I mean, what a joke. We were just talking about this on the show yesterday. If they can't count their ballots in June in 24 hours or less, what a mess things are going to be.
Yeah, they're an embarrassment, aren't they?
They really are. I mean, there's for so many reasons. Doc, I wanted to. There's a lot going on here today. I want to get into the John Bolton stuff, the the Fetterman stuff also, but I want to start with the church in Minneapolis. Because, we talk about California. If one state has, in the last year or so, tried to give California a run for its money when it comes to, the most ridiculous progressive state, I guess New York's and on the podium there as well. But Minnesota just continues to embarrass itself. And it's been announced now that the anti-ICE protesters that stormed the church there in St. Paul, Minneapolis area, along with Don Lemon. Everybody remembers this event from a few months ago. None of them will be facing any criminal charges. St. Paul City Attorney Irene Kao made this announcement last night. She said in a statement that her office would not pursue charges, saying the available evidence did not support prosecution under Minnesota law. Quote, following a careful evaluation of the video footage, investigative reports, and other available materials, prosecutors determined that the current evidence is insufficient to meet that standard for criminal charges under Minnesota state statutes. There's a lot more here that we'll get to, Doc. But I guess if there's any silver lining, the federal civil cases against Don Lemon, and the rest of the gang there are still moving forward. But just like, leave it to Minnesota to say, oh no, there's nothing to see here. What do you make of this, and what message does it send, Doc? About
well, I understand that right outside the circuit attorney's office, she's going to have this summer, all summer, a lemonade stand.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying.
It is. It's true. Well, listen,
it's laughable, isn't it?
It is.
This is not. I don't think this is a lack of evidence to prosecute them. This is a lack of a law and order worldview, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the problem. And it's pervasive. It is a comorbidity with TDS. It is epidemic in Minnesota and several other jurisdictions throughout the country, Tony. I mean, that's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
These people have several ideologies which are just all written in the, in the progressive Bible, wherever that's published. Maybe that's the Democrat, platform. I don't know. But this is prosecutorial discretion at its worst. I want to see prosecutorial discretion if I'm driving 70 miles an hour in a 55 and it's 3 o'clock in the morning and there's no one on the road and I get pulled over for speeding, right?
Right.
I think I could probably plead a little reasonable prosecutorial discretion.
Yeah. But
this was any reasonable human being. I'd like to show this to people that worship at the Church of Satan, and show a bunch of Christians, bowling in, or a bunch of, Fox News reporter and all the people there that have written books on Christianity, and tell me that that's not going to be an infringement on their rights of religious expression, right?
Exactly.
I'll bet you that the Minnesota Circuit Attorney would probably prosecute that situation. This is clearly biased non-prosecution. There's no other way to look at it.
You're exactly right, and you said that this is a example of the anti-law and order movement, and I agree with you, but it's specifically the anti-law and order movement unless you are disrupting what's important to us. Because as you mentioned, if you flip test this, there would be charges filed. If the roles were reversed or the opposite, an opposite situation was happening. I just want to read a little bit of this because as you learn more, it gets even worse. And as you hear the reasoning, it falls apart and gets even more aggravating. Lead pastor Jonathan Parnell said after this announcement, quote, according to the St. Paul City Attorney's logic, it's perfectly fine for agitators to invade a mosque, a cathedral, or a temple, intimidate the families and children inside, and shut down their religious gathering. Just call it a protest. Kao, the city attorney, the St. Paul city attorney that made this decision and this announcement, said that the decision does not the decision to not file state charges, quote, should not be interpreted as an endorsement of unlawful behavior or public disorder. Well, Doc, I don't know how else to interpret it then, because that's exactly what you have endorsed here. She goes on to say, quote, the right to peacefully protest is protected, as is the right to exercise one's religious beliefs. Balancing these equally important rights is paramount to our decision today. She noted that the demonstration did not involve violence, property damage, or threats to public safety. So just because I guess they didn't break the windows when they stormed in, Doc, that this wasn't a crime? I mean, the disruption was clear, and the threats to public safety, had I have been there in that church and people are storming in, yelling, holding signs, angrily protesting, especially in this day and age, I would feel very threatened. I would feel very afraid for what was going on. This doesn't balance out for me. What do you think of her statement that this is not an endorsement of unlawful behavior or public disorder?
Well, that's right out of another one of our favorite TDS-infected progressives named Jim Comey, when he said that Hillary Clinton was guilty, but we're not going to prosecute her.
Right.
I mean, right? I mean, basically, this is not an endorsement of unlawful behavior. Well, what is it an endorsement of? You just made a logical fallacy there.
Yeah.
Why would you mention unlawful behavior if you're not prosecuting it? Well, what are you saying it was? And I'm sorry, I don't know, I'm not an attorney, I'm not a constitutional scholar, but I thought that this was a violation of the expression of the First Amendment religious freedom.
Mm-hmm.
No, I mean, when children and their families are left running from the pews, when the peaceful expression of religious views is interrupted and prevented from proceeding, isn't that a violation of their rights?
Yeah. And while I'm glad that this group, seemingly for once, where a group like this and a story like this wasn't violent, they weren't destroying property and things like that. I would have, you would have had every anticipation that was happening if you were there in the moment, because of, if you have any, if you were been paying attention at all over the last 10 years and, are familiar with this type of behavior, you would think that there is definitely going to be some violence. And this is definitely a bad place to be with kids and family. And, it could have been a whole lot worse. And so this idea of, well, they didn't break anything when they came in, so it's not a crime. Just I'm having a hard time squaring all that.
Spencer Pratt and every at-risk congressman, woman, and senator up for election this cycle should have a split screen of that protest, along with maybe some peaceful grannies and grandpas protesting on holding up signs across from an abortion clinic, and say, do you want to vote for a party, for this candidate who is of the party, who doesn't know the difference between a peaceful protest and an invasive one, a rabble-rousing protest, a non-peaceful? We're the party that can define what a peaceful protest is. Yeah, look, I don't think my definition of an unpeaceful protest starts at violence and injury to people or places. Right. That was not a peaceful protest. I'm sorry. Look, every time you look at one of those wonderful, feel-good posters that we see, like, Serenity, and it's got a picture of a trout stream,
right.
Or, whatever. I'm sorry. Peaceful doesn't come into my mind on one of those posters with the Don Lemon protest. I'm sorry.
That's well said.
Peaceful.
You are exactly right. It reminds me of I've said this so many times over the years after covering it. When I was in Ferguson, when I was covering that event, and would be down there night after night, there were many nights where, fortunately, it didn't end with tear gas and police clearing the streets. But just because it didn't end that way didn't mean it was peaceful. So I would be there for hours. Things are very on edge, lots of threats, and things being hurled at police and things like this. And just, that feeling that anything could pop off at any moment. It's very stressful. It's a lot of anxiety. It's a lot of adrenaline, and then you go home and you have that adrenaline dump and you try to digest everything. And I many times would be on my way home after spending several hours down there and listening to the radio or turn on the television and hear the national media reporting on another day of peaceful protests in Ferguson. And like it's exactly what you just said, Doc. If you're there, the word peaceful was not one that you would use to describe the situation. Just because they didn't they didn't break through the windows to get in the building doesn't mean that they were peaceful. I think it's a great point.
This is a real embarrassing time in our country for our justice system. I mean, it is just at really most levels of jurisdiction. Thank God it's not at the Supreme Court most days. Embarrassing.
Yeah.
Once in a while they get it wrong, but I think they're doing a pretty good job. But I mean, when you talk about local prosecutors and formerly under Biden and with Eric Holder, I remember when Eric Holder watched, thug booted, billy glove carrying members of, remember that Black Panther group at the Philadelphia polling place? Those people weren't prosecuted. I mean, yeah, talk to anyone who attended civics and knows what law and order is and knew about a school resource officer and knew what right and wrong was. I think that's most of us that grew up until maybe the millennial age. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, you know the difference between right and wrong and things that need to be made accountable and not.
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
sorry. It's just, I wonder sometimes if I'm living in an alternate universe when I look at what's going on with our justice system. And yet, Tony, don't you dare forget to report some of your income accidentally because a W-2 gets lost or
Right.
whatever,
Yeah.
Oh my God, the jackbooted IRS
Oh.
agents are knocking at your door. They're going to confiscate your wages and you're guilty till proven innocent, brother. You know why? Because you're not the right color or gender or minority or your hair or your tattoos. I don't know what. You don't have the right identity.
Doc, that is such a great point. Like all the illegal immigrants, that's been kind of the theme of the last couple days, that highlighting the two-tier justice system. All the illegal immigrants, that get not only their crimes defended, and they're not held accountable, but they also aren't held accountable for the taxes and the burden that they put on. But heaven forbid I forget to put a band gig, in my file where I made $300 or something like that.
Yeah.
Heaven forbid, that doesn't get put in there. And I'm, you better believe it, I'm going to be held accountable. It is amazing. Just got a couple minutes left here with Dr. Randy Tobler from the Randy Tobler Show every Saturday morning, 6 to 9 a.m. here on News Talk STL. Doc, I want to get your thoughts on John Bolton, former White House National Security Advisor. John Bolton will plead guilty to retaining classified information. It's been a while since we've talked about the old classified documents. The classified documents debate with Trump and Biden and others was everywhere a couple of years ago, and it's reared its ugly head back in this issue. Authorities raided Bolton's home and office in August of last year, and he was officially indicted in October. That indictment charged Bolton with both transmission and retention of classified information. He is accepting now a plea deal with federal authorities to plead guilty to a single count of retention of classified information. Under the deal, he would be fined $2.25 million and could avoid serving any prison time, but he does face a maximum of 60 years. I've been seeing things like 60 months, I think. I can't remember. I've seen some reports out there. What do you make of this with John Bolton and his mustache pleading guilty and facing these charges for illegal documents? classified
You'd
documents.
think that a former national security advisor would know a little bit about the proper handling and transmission. Of
You would
records,
think, but
right?
I also not sure, and I'm not. And this is in no way to defend John Bolton. I'm not a big fan of John Bolton, but But the classified documents issue and how many presidents and have taken them, and I saw that there's still cases or negotiations happening with the Nixon Library about what they should have and shouldn't have, in their possession. The whole classified documents, top secret documents issue, I think is a problem across the board. But anyway, sorry, a little side tangent there. Again,
You're right.
no defense of John
as
Bolton. But
if I remember right, didn't you reference some of this stuff in his book? And I mean, I think this was more than just, they got caught in the multiple boxes of stuff at
Right,
the home when
yeah.
you clean out your office.
Yeah.
I mean, I do have some grace for that. But
yeah.
I mean, he transmitted them, and he
Yep.
did some stuff that, you got to really think about. This is an active violation with potentially serious consequences,
Mm-hmm.
right? This wasn't like the secret wet recipe to the 50-cent, bean soup in the Senate cafeteria, right? This is serious stuff. And I don't know, maybe that is a classified.
It might be.
It's high in fiber. Bobby Kennedy's going to want that for sure. But I don't know. I'm sort of mixed feelings about this. But I think it's the right thing to do because the guy should have known better. And it's good to see, someone who probably got a little full of himself. That happens when you breathe too much swamp gas for too long. You start believing what people say about you. And, it's probably better off to right from the get-go. Don't have drivers. Drive your own car. Remember that you have to put on deodorant in the morning, just like the average Joe, and just watch it. You're not special. You're not exempt.
Yeah, amen. Unfortunately, some people with last names like Clinton and Biden and Pelosi have proven that wrong in some cases, but we need to hold these people accountable. And to that point, Doc, before we let you go, so okay, John Bolton, I'm sure this is very appropriately charged in paying the price for these things. Can we talk about the boxes of documents in the garage next to the Corvette in Biden's garage now?
Yeah, right.
If we've proven this, if we've agreed that this is the punishment, can we do? I mean, that one we don't need to do is a thorough investigation on it. We know that the documents were in a box next to the Corvette in the vacation home garage of Joe Biden when they shouldn't have been. So I'd like to see a little equal application of justice, Doc. But as a medical professional, my guess is that you would not advise that I hold my breath waiting for that equal application.
No, it'll be a race between whether you'll hold it longer for that or the results of the California election. I don't know.
Well done. Dr. Randy Tobler, every Saturday morning, 6 to 9 a.m. here on News Talk STL, the Randy Tobler Show, and every Thursday here with us on Colombo Company. Really appreciate your time. As always, Doc, have a great rest of your day.
You too. Take care.
Yeah, great conversation there with Dr. Randy Tobler. All right, I mentioned earlier that I am, who knew that I would be such a big fan of John Fetterman. Still wouldn't vote for him, but man, he's back in the news today, just being the Democrat that is, just making a whole lot of sense. He's gotten involved in the Graham Planter discussion there, the main progressive with the Nazi tattoo that's being endorsed by Bernie Sanders. So I want to get into that story and more as we are joined by my co-hosts from the Bluff City Outdoors Show. You hear the Randy Tobler Show every Saturday morning, 6 to 9 a.m. And if you stick around at 11 a.m., it's the Bluff City Outdoors Show with local professional fisherman Mike Marfell and the owner of Bluff City Outdoors, Mark McMurray, both of whom join me next here on Colombo Company.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. This is 101.9 and 94.1.
I have to tell you, if this is how they're going to behave, I'm rethinking my position.
News Talk STL.
Fox News commentary with Greg Jarrett. Next.
Most investments today feel like second jobs. Real estate, you're a landlord. Stocks, you're a day trader. Crypto, you're a full-time researcher. You've got a life to live. Your investment should help you live it. That's why more Americans are choosing gold. Noble Gold has helped thousands protect their future with real physical gold. Visit noblegoldinvestments.com to get your free wealth protection kit. That's noblegoldinvestments.com. Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals, including gold, involves risks. Consult with your tax attorney or financial professional before making an investment decision.
Here's Greg Jarrett.
Joe Biden's elaborate game of hide and seek over his suspected theft of highly classified government documents may finally be coming to an end. The Department of Justice announced, "Ready or not, here I come." So the former president scampered to a federal court begging for protection to prevent public release of his audio recordings in which he is known to have incriminated himself. Biden is asking a federal judge to effectively cover up evidence of crimes, whether charged or not. The fact is, Biden did share classified information to his ghostwriter, who had no security clearance whatsoever. It's on the tapes, confirmed by the special counsel who listened to them. And the public is entitled to hear those tapes as well.
For more commentary like this, go to foxnewspodcast.com.
Concerned about the condition of your windows driving up your energy bills? I was too. It's only called STL Windows and Doors. Their Provia windows combine old world craftsmanship the professional way, the Provia way, with over 65 years of combined experience, locally owned, offering competitive pricing and personalized service that the big box companies can't match. Call today for your free in-home estimate and start saving tomorrow. 314-277-5952 or stlwindowsanddoors.com.
When the storm hits and a tree comes down, you need someone you can trust right now. OLI Outdoor Services in Godfrey is on call 24/7 for emergency tree removal, trimming, stump grinding, and land clearing. Serving Illinois and Missouri with licensed, insured professionals and over 200 years of combined experience. Tree removal starting at just $299. Free estimates, plus financing. Visit OLIOutdoorServices.com or call 1-888-5-SAWING.
Ronald Reagan once famously said, "Government is not the solution, government is the problem." When it comes to economic growth, government can be a roadblock. With red tape, regulations, and subsidies, government stifles entrepreneurship and also props up businesses that deserve to go under. Unlike government, free markets encourage risk-taking, freedom to succeed or fail. Governments shouldn't be picking winners and losers, the market should. Free markets benefit the business owner and the customer by encouraging competition. Free market enabled a young man named J.C. Hall, selling picture postcards in Kansas City, to turn his idea into Hallmark cards. In St. Louis, the free market made it possible for Adolphus Busch to turn his father-in-law's local beer into the world's largest brewery. A free market also means you get to send your kids to the school of your choice. Learn more about free markets at showmeinstitute.org. The Show Me Minute has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
On the next,
Larry Connors, USA.
Today, story behind the story, my flight with the Blue Angels, and some of the public response I got.
Larry Connors, USA. Now, weeknights 6 until 8 on News Talk STL.
Welcome back to Colombo Company on 101.9 News Talk STL. Great stuff there with Dr. Randy Tobler from the Randy Tobler Show. Saturday mornings, 6 to 9 a.m. here on News Talk STL. And speaking of Saturday mornings here on the station, Saturday mornings at 11 a.m. is the Bluff City Outdoors Show with me and my guests, local professional fisherman Mike Marfell, who is on the line with us. Mike, have we made connection? Can you hear us?
Yes, I can, Tony. And I've just come to the realization, as dangerous as Lake of the Ozarks can be, I think it's more dangerous to pull your boat on 270 at 3:20 in the afternoon.
Well, you stay hands-free, buddy, and if you need to let us go, you just let us know. But thank you so much.
No.
That's awesome.
I'm safely in the confines of Fenton now. So
There you go.
We're good.
There you go. You've entered within the dome of serenity there, and you're going to be all right.
Yeah.
Mike's on the line with us, and in the studio is my co-host of the Bluff City Outdoors Show, the owner of Bluff City Outdoors in Alton, Mark McMurray.
Hey, it's great to be back, Tony.
Yeah,
That 270 this time of day traffic's no joke.
Oh man! Ever since I moved to St. Charles County a few years ago, and we moved this station from downtown, I don't have to for over 25 years every day. All the stations that I worked for, including this one before we moved here, were all downtown St. Louis. So 270, 70, 40, all you guys call
It's just
64.
crap, yeah.
Yeah, terrible. And I don't have to touch any of them anymore. I'm a
North
364
County
guy.
traffic used to be horrible. That work they did up there made it flow much, much better.
Yeah, but man, I do not miss it. And when I do have to drive on one of those highways, it is a rude awakening, a flashback to just how rough it can be.
Flashback to a nightmare.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Mike.
Construction there at 40, like the guy with the bass boat's trying to leave a little room, and then everybody feels like they need to fill it and fill it right now.
Jeez.
So there's a lot of slamming on the brakes kind of thing. But we navigated her safely. Like I said, we're almost to Marfeld Manor. So
attaboy. Nice. Well, so every Saturday we get to talk about fishing and hunting and trapping and a lot of the great fun outdoor issues. And would love for you to tune in this week and just make it a part of your plan to join us on the Bluff City Outdoor Show. We don't talk politics on that show, though, unless it bleeds into the outdoor community. So this is my opportunity to talk to these guys about some of the news stories of the day. Wanted to get your guys' opinion and thoughts on the latest from John Fetterman. Who knew? Who knew that I would have such respect for John Fetterman?
He's the sane Democrat that's out there right now.
Yeah, and he is, he's always compared to Joe Manchin. He's, this Congress's version of Joe Manchin. Fetterman is more outspoken. Manchin would, his votes.
Yeah, his
would
votes,
very often.
Yes,
and
he didn't talk about a lot.
Yeah, especially if it didn't have to deal with his state. If it was, but Fetterman he'll get involved in the national issues if he's asked about it by the media. He ramped up criticism today of the embattled Senate candidate Graham Planter. I haven't spent a lot of time on this issue. It's because there's just so many, there's only room for so many stories. And sometimes, especially an out-of-state story like this, it's not somebody who's just absolutely ridiculous. So I haven't really talked about the Graham Planter situation a whole lot on this show. But this guy's you don't have to dig into the story to know that this guy's got a lot of baggage and a lot of issues.
If I was a coworker of his, I'd have to be keeping an eye over my shoulder. He's out there.
Or if your wife or daughter worked with it,
yeah.
ever came into contact. From the Nazi tattoo to the questionable online behavior, possibly surrounding underage people, and more. This guy's a real winner. Well, John Fetterman is calling this guy out over his history of inflammatory remarks while challenging him to release messages released to his Kick account. So this is that social media platform where this guy has had an account. He's been speaking with people. It's the whole thing is it's meant to be very anonymous, so it's hard to track. It's hard to get the transcripts, all these kinds of things, and it's hard to know what the identity of people are. A lot of people accusing him of speaking to underage people on there, and John Fetterman is one of them, saying, "Hey, why don't you release? Why don't you show us your chat logs? Yeah. Why don't you show us who the people you were talking to?" And he said that if Graham Planter released the chat logs, he would John Fetterman would wear a suit to work every day.
That's pretty good.
For the rest.
That's a commitment.
Yeah. Quote, this is a guy that had a problem with me, with how I dress, but he seemed to have no problem posing in a towel on a disgusting website that consistently had serious problems about that kinds of depravity, Fetterman said. He then challenged Planter to make public the messages he allegedly exchanged with women on the platform, saying, quote, let me make a deal. I'll tell P. Hustle, which apparently was Graham Planter's username on the app, P. Hustle. Fetterman said, quote, let me make a deal. I'll tell P. Hustle I'll wear a suit every day if he releases all those texts and messages that he's had with the dozen women. Fetterman argued that Planter should release the messages if he has nothing to hide, while raising concerns about age verification and anonymous messaging platforms. He said, quote, you can prove to America what's in these conversations. Can P. Hustle prove how old these people are? Mike, who knew? John Fetterman, the voice of reason on the left.
Yeah, he's become that. Well, that's being the tallest midget, right? I mean, that's not a big task there. You know what? It reminds me of, I mean, he's even nuttier than, well, I don't know. I've seen some recent pictures of Anthony Weiner. He was, what was it? He was Carlos Danger. That was his handle, right?
Yes.
Those two should. I have a prediction.
P. Hustle and
that's
Carlos
be your presidential. That'll be your presidential ticket at some point on the left.
Yeah. And you'll have an idiot like Bernie Sanders endorsing them.
Oh, yeah.
Which is just even more crazy, Mark. Like,
it's nuts. You know, I saw the one gal on The View said, well, I'd hold my nose and vote for this.
Yeah, Sonny Hudson.
That does say a lot about her.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Which is, you know what? That speaks to the larger strategy and approach by the Democrats and the left in general. The hold my nose and vote kind of thing. We've talked about this a lot. One of the advantages that Democrats have over Republicans many times historically is that Democrats will circle the wagons.
Yes, they stick together.
And
yes.
And you know, that's a perfect example. Hold their nose and vote. Whereas conservatives, and I'm not saying this is a bad thing, I'm just saying this is the reality of the situation where many conservative and libertarian voters won't do that.
Yeah,
they're not going to vote for somebody that they
don't think
deem deplorable. Right,
yep.
Exactly.
If they're not the person, I'm not voting for you.
But it's that mindset of, you know, anybody but the right, anybody, you know, the Trump derangement syndrome. And that's why I think that's one of the reasons that they've had the success that they have had as a party. Even as
it is. And, you know, I mean, even in Congress, they very much stick together. I mean, it's.
Yeah. Even with how loony that party is, and you think to yourself, and I say this all the time, on and off the air, you look at the state of the left, Mike, you look at these names, you look at these stories like Graham Planter and, you know, they're the top of that party, the people that are supposedly going to lead it into the next generation. AOC, Zoran Mondani, Gavin Newsom, J.B. Pritzker. Like, how are these people, how is this party winning elections? And, of course, media support is a big part of it. But, you know, this idea of sticking together, I think, is part of it as well.
Media, the media backing, I give them credit. They have a great ground game. They get every vagrant under every bridge out to vote. You know, I mean, in Illinois, you don't have to. You can do that provisional vote day of. You know, so.
Yeah, absolutely. Mike, are you
Well,
worried?
they're good at
Go ahead,
cheating,
Mike.
too.
Yeah. Go ahead. Say it again.
I think they're kind of good at cheating a little bit. I mean, you know, they've got, what is that? There's a someone in California, I forget who it was. It was a female, and they've still got like 12,000 voters that don't even live in the state that are still registered, and they don't want to get rid of that.
Yeah, well, that alderman in Illinois, that story, I did it last week. I don't know if you guys saw this, and Mark, a resident of Illinois, you know, would be able to speak to what, you know, some of the questions that linger over elections in that state. This alderwoman or councilwoman, I can't remember. I don't have the details in front of me, but talked about it last week or the week before when it came out. Had got caught and admitted to voting for submitting her dead mother's vote, mail-in vote.
Like, if it's there, it's
and this is an elected official.
Yeah,
who
they don't care.
Is cheating.
It is. It is cheating.
Cheating and admitting to it. I mean, admitting to it after they were caught, but still admitting to it. So yeah, Mike.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I've poll watched numerous times. You tell me how a precinct goes from 95% voter turnout down to 65% turnout. The only difference is you got a poll watcher there.
Yeah. There you go.
You know, it says a lot.
Ding, ding. Got a few minutes left here with the guys for the Bluff City Outdoors Show. Before we run out of time, I do want to talk about the great outdoors a little bit and preview this weekend's show. But also, as I said, you know, I got to take advantage of getting to talk about politics, especially when we can, you know, have some fun at the expense of the people that deserve it. In just a minute, I want to ask you guys both about this. The Department of War has just officially removed over 180 faiths from its list of recognized religions. They just removed
180. That's almost
I don't
as
know
many
if I could get to
genders
10.
as there is genders.
I don't know if I could get to 10. How was there 180 and there's still dozens on the recognized list?
You got to have some of that's got to be worshiping a head of lettuce or something.
I want to talk about it because this announcement was just made yesterday by Pete Hegseth. So I want to get into that and more as we continue with the guys from the Bluff City Outdoors Show next here on Colombo Company.
Follow Tony Colombo on Twitter at Tony Colombo Talk.
1 in 4 women will have an abortion before the age of 45 in this country. That's the tragedy we must work to stop. Mike Ferguson from The Morning Show here, and that is why Reach Reproductive Health is here, to empower parents to save the lives of innocent children and to see these families come to Christ. And you can be a part of saving and changing lives. So pray and visit outreachforlife.org to learn more, volunteer, and donate. That's outreachforlife.org.
Hey, it's Vic Porcelli. We're sitting here with our great friend, Chris Cooper. Hi, Chris.
What's going on, Vic? How are you?
I hear you wrote another book. This one's an e-book. Is that right?
The Business Owner's Playbook for Financial Clarity. So it is a great book for entrepreneurs. It's a very short guide. Give people, business owners, the ability to understand key questions that are important, such as succession planning, legacy planning, getting the IRS out of our pockets, right? Because do you like paying taxes?
I do not.
I don't think anybody likes paying taxes, right? That just makes sense. And then always talking about protection. And then the other thing from a business owner perspective, what is the biggest asset a business owner has? Probably their business itself, right? We need to make sure we understand what the value of that business is as well.
So this new book, I'm sure, is incredibly expensive, right? How much?
No, it's a free resource.
Oh, it's free.
We provide guidance, we provide education because we want to make sure people feel educated and understanding because sometimes you don't know what questions to ask, and we need to make sure we help arm people with information to ask the right question.
Reach out to Chris and Stacy today at SerenityWealthNow.com.
Investment advice offered through Fortis Capital Advisors, LLC.
They're gonna clean up your looks with all the lies in the books to make a citizen out of you. Because they sleep with a gun and keep an eye on you, son, so they can watch all the things you do. Because the drugs never work.
Welcome back to Colombo Company on 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL. Got the guys from the Bluff City Outdoors Show in with us right now. Mark McMurray from Bluff City Outdoors is in studio, and local professional fisherman, co-host of the Bluff City Outdoors Show, Mike Marfell, on the line as well. Yeah, I'm trying to find a list because I really want to see it, but mentioned there a moment ago, the Department of War has officially removed 180 faiths from its list of recognized religions, acting on a change previously announced by War Secretary Pete Hegseth. The U.S. Military Chaplain Corps previously recognized over 200 faith codes that service members could claim affiliation with. That number is now down to 31 as of today, officially. This was enacted. Mike, at the break there, Mark and I were just trying to. Now it's 31. I still don't know if I could name 31, let alone the 200 plus that were officially recognized before this. What do you think about Pete Hegseth slashing 180? I don't even want to call them religions. I mean, really? Like, what are we doing here? From the list of recognized.
I don't understand. I can't wrap my head around it. I was looking here. Agnostics is one of them that they kept, which I'm not.
Yeah, isn't that
a religion?
Yeah,
isn't that?
That's a.
But I think
it's the opposite of religion.
For the purpose of chaplains. So did they have over 200 different denomination of chaplains in the military?
Yeah, they would have had to have an expert on each of these.
You would think, yeah.
And then you're right. And an agnostic is not the opposite. It's not agnostic is
they're not sure.
They don't know. Yeah. They don't not necessarily a believer, but not saying.
But they're not a. They're not an atheist.
Yeah, not a non-believer. Just a.
They'd like
I don't
to see
know.
proof.
Yeah, I need more proof. Exactly. So, but to Mike's point, I'm not sure that's a religion. I don't know who do you talk to if you're having a faith issue and you need to talk to someone.
And you're agnostic.
And you're like, is there I mean, what is yeah.
I think somebody just wants to have that on their dog tag. I think that's what that is.
Yeah, you know what? You'd have to
question everything.
You could ask your son. Like if he the list. If he got like, were they given a list? And
yeah, I'll find
like check
out.
the
I'll
box.
talk to you and find out. That's a good question.
Yeah, I have a list here, and it's just wild how. And I'm not sure this is the official list because there's not quite 200 on here, but like one option is Protestant other churches, and then another option is Protestant no denominational preference. Isn't that kind of the same thing? One is just other religions. Like what? Bible, Protestant Church, Congregational Methodist Church, Evangelical Methodist Church. There's like 10 versions of Methodist. Like, yeah.
A lot of different groups.
Sounds like your basic government redundancy.
Oh, big time, big time.
When it boils down to it. Go ahead, Mike.
Tony, I really wanted to be behind Pete in the beginning when he was going to get back to being war fighting was what we were doing.
Mm-hmm.
So how have we, in the middle of a war, are we even messing with this? I don't.
Well, you bring up, you know what, you touch on something there that's, been a big topic of discussion for me over the last couple weeks. I was certain a week ago that the clock had run out on this phase of the conflict with Iran, that something had to give, whether it be advancement of negotiations in a real impactful way, Mark, or military action. The thing that I thought wasn't going to happen and couldn't happen anymore is just to continue to kick the can down the road and spin our wheels and say, we're just, nothing happening yet. But that's.
I know when they announced it, didn't they say they were doing like a 60-day window?
Uh-huh.
I think we're still in that 60-day window.
Well, I don't know the 60-day agreement, but the president never officially endorsed that 60-day agreement. But we're still
bad feeling.
Operating under.
I got a not bad feeling. I just got a feeling that in his mind it is that 60-day window.
Well, we're certainly operating under that, and there's no way that's August. We would be in August if that's the case. And if we're still in the position that we're in right now, Mike, to your point that, I know it's not Hegseth individually, that can make this decision, but something's got to give. And to continue to kick the can down the road, to me, is just not the way to go. It's time to either force a meaningful ceasefire agreement or take it to the next level militarily. What do you think about that, Mike?
I've thought that all along. I mean, it's I don't know where this ends. I really don't. I mean,
they
are very patient people.
Yeah,
Wait
because
till-
history has taught them that if all they have to do is wait us out.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've got, or else we're willing to, go put boots on the ground.
Right.
And that didn't end well the last time.
Yeah. I sometimes think too they might be looking at a strategy of, hey, is there anybody else that can be the boots on the ground like the Kurds? Somebody that that might take a little bit of time to get all those pieces in place.
Yeah. Well, I know this, that if we're in this same position that we're in now, we're still having this same conversation that we are in now when people start voting. I mean, even in the primary elections, our primaries here in Missouri are in August, and then that is not a good sign.
Yeah, it needs to get this wrapped up.
Yeah, not a good sign. Got a few minutes left here with Mark McMurray from Bluff City Outdoors and Mike Marfell from Bluff City Outdoors Show. Previewing this weekend a little bit, Mark. We've talked a lot about what a great time of year this is for fishing. It's been on fire across the area. We've fortunately, by and large, had some pretty good weather this spring and heading into the early summer here. What has been the latest this week out at the shop, and has that momentum
fishing's
continued?
starting to. Waters are stabilizing, fishing is stabilizing, and getting back to being really good.
Yeah.
That up-down water, muddy water, it just messes their patterns up.
Yeah.
So they really haven't been able to fall into this early summer pattern.
Yeah, I was
They're
there at
getting
the
there now.
Lake of the Ozarks last weekend, Mike, and I know we've talked a lot about that. Mark just touched on it there. The lake was extremely dirty, and I know we've been talking about that on the Fishing Report every week on the Bluff City Outdoors Show. You mentioned towing the boat. Are you were coming home from a tournament? You got anything coming up? And what's been your experience out here or out there? Over the last several days, as far as conditions, are we in that time of year where it's just a really great time to be on the water?
Absolutely. The fishing's still out of sight, even with the muddy water. It's keeping them up shallow. But like to Mark's point, it's that time, and with the temperatures and stuff, they're starting to work towards that summer pattern, which will pull them out on those main lake points and bluff ends. And like right now, even with a lot of the fish up shallow, if the report from the Bagnell Dam was that they were going to be running water, you need to be fishing either secondaries or main lake points. They will move out to that stuff with the current flowing. And the dirty water's been there long enough at this point. It's more affecting what you need to present, the style of presentation, something that moves water, the color needs to be darker, that sort of thing. But hey, for you, Tony, top water's top water, baby. Don't matter what color the water is. So get the buzz bait out, get
Let's
the
go.
walking bait out, and let's go.
I'm
And
going to try to
your
get
point,
out there
I'm
this
not coming
weekend.
From a tournament.
What's
yeah,
that?
I'm actually getting the boat because I got it prepped, my 300-hour service, and I had the leash put on, which prevents the motor from, if you were to hit something, to come up into the cockpit, because I'm fishing that river series this year where we'll be going out of Warsaw at the 96-mile mark, and it cuts off at the Hurricane deck at the 35.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be fishing way up the river this summer. So we'll have some really different fishing reports on the Bluff City Outdoor Show this summer because I'll be fishing the river end of the lake. So it's going to be pretty interesting.
I love it. And yeah, and that's one of the things that you can count on from us every week on the Bluff City Outdoors Show. The last segment of every week is the weekly fishing report all year round. And, and sometime in the middle of winter, it's not very long, but we still have it for you all year.
Still have it, yep.
This time of year, it's very helpful.
verbose.
And informative.
I got just one thing too. We've been waiting on them, so we finally got some of those big urchin baits in the shop.
Oh
We've
yeah.
been trying to find a manufacturer.
dice.
The big dice.
The dice, yeah.
These are called a sea urchin. They're like 4 inches around. They're pretty good size.
Uh-huh.
So we finally got some of those in today, and so they're finally available there.
Yeah.
And the other thing that's going crazy too is if you're out there and want to get running those catfish bank poles, come see us. Those things are super crazy expensive to ship.
Yeah.
So just stop by and see those.
Absolutely. Yeah, Mike, that's one of the conversations that I want to have with you in the coming weeks on the show. Is we got into this last week when you were not in the studio, but how this the dice baits, the urchins,
crazy stuff,
have been going just absolutely bonkers.
It's the new Alabama rig. It's winning tournaments all over the place.
Yeah.
Amateur level, pro level. A friend of mine just sent me a picture. I think he had 19 pounds on one of those sea urchin style baits, at a little bitty strip pit down in southern Illinois.
Tune in this Saturday and every Saturday morning, 11 a.m. for the Bluff City Outdoors Show. And, of course, Bluff City Outdoors open 7 days a week in Alton, about a mile east of Fast Eddie's there on East Broadway. All your fishing needs, all your bow hunting needs, all your trapping needs, all your Garmin electronic needs. You can shoot in the archery range every day, all at Bluff City Outdoors and BluffCityOutdoors.com. We're back tomorrow. Tim and Chris next.
Are you tired of hard chlorinated water drying your skin out, tasting bad, and ruining your fixtures? Jones Air and Water Treatment has a solution to this pollution. Our Hydratech H2O leaves you with great tasting, soft water at all fixtures in your home with one unit. Call Jones Air and Water at 636-899-1040 or visit us on the web at joneswater.com. You can be a filter or buy a filter. Jones Air and Water, 636-899-1040 or joneswater.com on the web. Call us now.
This is Larry Connor's commentary on News Talk STL.
Lately, my cell phone and email being blasted by political individuals or organizations. Usually I ignore them, but I thought, this time let's go public. So I get this text message. Hi, Larry. It's hard not to be alarmed and outraged by what we're seeing these days. Oh, I agree. The actual and fantasized attempts to assassinate